Hi lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to briefly discuss social media's obsession with musical artists quote-unquote flopping and what actually constitutes a flop, as well as highlight a few sleeper hit songs that did not immediately succeed on the charts but went on to become hit songs weeks, months, and even years after its initial release. I was inspired to do this video when I saw a few tweets a while ago from singer-songwriter and former Fifth Harmony group member Lauren Jarecki, talking about how quickly people are to dismiss music without really giving the song or the artist a chance. Because we are still in the microwave era of music, coupled with streaming and social media, more and more people are able to voice their dissatisfaction with the new release by calling it trash or a flop, even if the song or album has been available for release for less than 24 hours. While music is subjective and everyone has a right to their opinion regarding a new record, I feel like it's become commonplace to trash a record and to a certain extent, bully an artist simply because they don't like the song or an artist. In recent years, social media users have felt the need to engage in aggressive competitive fandom wars where stans feel the need to prove that their fave has either outcharted, outsold, or achieved some type of quantifiable metric as a way to taunt another artist who did not meet similar numerical expectations. As for Lauren, the singer rose to fame in 2012 when she was a contestant on the talent competition show X Factor. After being eliminated, she was later brought back and put into a group alongside Camila Cabello, Dinah Jane, Hermione Corday, and Ally Brooke to form the group Fifth Harmony. As a group, they released 3 studio albums, with the final album without Camila. Since the group announced their hiatus in March of 2018, Lauren has released a few singles such as Expectations and More Than That. She also went on tour with singers Halsey and Banks and has released her debut solo project titled Prelude in November 2021, and most recently her song Trust Issues in March of 2023. In 2021, Lauren left Columbia Records and started her own label, Attunement Records. So now, as a new independent artist, Lauren has a different perspective of the realities of the pressures of being an artist and making it in the industry. On Twitter, she spoke on how society consumes and digests music by saying, quote, "You know what's sad about the way people consume music today? That y'all don't give anything a chance. Just a bunch of judgment if it doesn't immediately perform and waiting for people to jump on a bandwagon before you actually listen to something. So quick to call something a flop before you give it the time it needs to organically grow and enter the wider sphere of consciousness. Adele's Chasing Pavements took 2 years of a dedicated team and patience to break. So quick to dismiss the incredibly hard work of artists and their teams and reduce it to whether or not it could go viral fast enough. It's so sad because so many people are making beautiful things, and then the internet is telling them that they're worthless, trash, and unsuccessful because metrics and data don't compete with the investment or visibility these major label artists have. Even then, I feel like artists signed to labels are suffering too." Lauren went on to say, this is our livelihood and hearts, not just entertainment or disposable product. Everybody feels like such a dogpile hater and a critic until everybody likes something. Or it feels like everybody likes something, and even then, if they get too much love, y'all are ready to destroy and dissect anything else they release. It's just really sad to watch that happen over and over again. To all of my artists out there making things passionately and pouring your everything into what you create, just trust the process and don't give up on yourself because of the fake internet critics' trash takes about what you have to offer, unquote. I echo Lauren's thoughts because nowadays on social media, it has become purely a numbers game, with various fan bases and stans not realizing that it takes the fun and joy out of music. When you see various stans pollute the comment section of how an artist or a song is trash or how it flopped or how an artist contemporary is doing better than them in certain sales figures, I could imagine as an artist who is in the business because they simply love to make music would be discouraged by unfair or unrealistic music critics and standards. Even beyond the music, people on social media can be overly critical to the point where it could force an artist to leave social media altogether, as it could take a toll on their mental health. Since Chloe and her sister Halle created their own separate social media accounts in 2021, Chloe began to embark on her own solo career. And with that came with Chloe finding herself personally and professionally in front of the world. Over the last 2 to 3 years, the singer-songwriter and producer has released a few songs and most recently her debut solo album In Pieces in March of 2023. Along with various comments about the music she's released, there have been more targeted, not so nice comments about Chloe as a person, ranging from people thinking she's showing and selling off her body for male attention and that she's doing too much in her photos or performances. Chloe spoke with Taraji P. Henson on her show Peace of Mind about how she has been dealing with insecurity and how she has had moments of feeling less than. She mentioned to Taraji how, as an artist, she is not a robot, and she questioned how critics online would feel if those same negative comments were said about them. More recently, in an interview while promoting In Pieces, Chloë spoke on how she had to delete Twitter off of her phone because of the continuous negative comments. Chloë said, quote, "I love all social media, and Twitter as well, but that is where you can see all of the negative things about you, directly in front of your face. If I see my name trending, I would click on it and see a whole plethora of negative tweets about myself, and I don't need to do that to myself. I feel that when you continue to be fed the same thing, you'll start to believe it, and I started changing myself based on what I thought people's opinions of me were, and that's not okay," unquote. Aside from Chloë, the rapper Roddy Ricch is another artist who fell victim to the toxicity on social media. The Grammy Award-winning rapper was coming off of the massive success of his debut album, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial, released in 2019. The album went #1 on the Billboard 200 and featured the diamond-selling single, The Box, which also went #1 on the charts. 2 years later, in 2021, Roddy Ricch released his second album, Live Life Fast, in which it did not receive a lot of positive reactions on social media, but that did not deter the rapper from releasing new music after that album. In February 2022, Roddy teased a snippet of a new song called Out My Mind on his Twitter, and immediately was met with mean and negative comments about how bad people felt the track was. The criticism from social media users had to be incredibly discouraging, as Roddy deactivated both his Twitter and Instagram the same day. Personally, I did not feel that the song was that bad, to the point where it warranted all of the negative reactions of people claiming that he fell off compared to his previous album and mixtape releases. Recently, I watched Roddy's episode on the Hulu show Rap Caviar Presents, where Roddy briefly discussed this incident. Roddy mentioned how he deleted his social media because he was going through a lot personally. Roddy said, quote, "I was going through what one would call depression, or one would call it, just figuring out his life. I had my first son, and I did not know how to handle that. There are a lot of things that I had to grow up and understand and learn, and I did not want to do that in front of the world," unquote. He went on to say that at the end of the day, he loves his fans and appreciates everybody that supports him, but, quote, "These people have to put themselves in our shoes, and sometimes you just don't feel like dealing with nobody, let alone the world. The opinions of people that you don't even know. So I deleted all of my ish because I felt like it was bad," unquote. When the situation happened and when I watched this episode, I truly felt bad for Roddy because I felt like people forgot that at that time, Roddy was just 23 years old. Like one social media user said, he is way too talented and young for people to have written him off the way that they did so quickly. Roddy nor anyone deserves to be bullied off of social media. He is just another example of an artist that Lauren was talking about, of how people are quick to dogpile hate just as quickly as they built up an artist. Saweetie would be another example of an artist I feel social media loves to clown. The rapper rose to prominence with her song Icy Girl in 2017, which is a freestyle to the rapper Kaira's song My Neck, My Back. Over the years, Saweetie has released several songs and EPs such as High Maintenance, Icy, Pretty Summer Playlist Season 1, and most recently the Single Life, released in November 2022. The Single Life received a lot of commentary from people on social media, in which I saw more people dogpiling on how her EP flopped and only sold 2,000 copies than actual critique of the music itself. I am aware of the fact that a lot of people feel Saweetie is not a good rapper and is a product of pretty privilege in the music industry, but I felt that the criticism she was receiving was beyond unfair. Regardless of people not liking her music, it was insane to me of how outright vicious people were to her. The DJ Vlad social media account even tweeted that if Saweetie did a Vlad TV interview, she would have easily done 10 times her first week's sales, which was 2,000 copies. We actually reached out through one of our people and were told that she won't do Vlad. Her loss. In which Saweetie responded by saying, "Actually, I've been a big fan and have screen recorded my favorite episodes. Here's one of them. Dates on the top. So if anyone reached out, it wasn't to me or my team, DJ Vlad. Happy Thanksgiving." I saw another tweet that mentioned how in the culture of streaming and therefore the decline of pure sales, people are dogpiling on Saweetie because it's cool. Meanwhile, there are legends whose sales numbers aren't that great, but people will jump on the bandwagon to trash an artist that they feel is an easy target. I totally agree with this assessment. People also argue that the timing of her release was bad, considering the recent passing of Takeoff, who was a member of the rap group The Migos and nephew of Quavo, who previously dated Saweetie. I feel like the vast majority of people who had so many opinions on Saweetie's sales number did not even bother to listen to her project, which diminishes their argument if they did not even bother to give the EP a chance in the first place. Overall, while fans of Saweetie are still waiting for her debut solo album, it is important to note that Saweetie has a few platinum singles such as My Type, Tap In, and Best Friend, which is a fact people conveniently leave out whenever they discuss Saweetie's failures and flop career. Singer-songwriter Tinashe is no stranger to social media hate. After the release of her critically acclaimed debut album, Aquarius, released in 2014, she has received endless comments about how her career has been flopping, and she has been the subject of various discussions of people wondering what happened to her career. Tinashe has been very outspoken over the years over the issues she has had with her former label RCA, in which her and the record executive continuously butted heads over the direction of her music. Tinashe believed that the label focused more on other artists such as Zayn Malik, for instance. The singer also mentioned how the label forced her to change the cover of her debut album, and how RCA did not promote her second studio album, Nightride, in 2016 because they did not consider it an album due to the style of music. Therefore, it did not receive any proper lead single or a tour to support the project. 2 years later, when Tinashe released her third studio album, Joyride, she was an ongoing joke on social media because the album debuted at number 58 on the Billboard 200 and sold nearly 10,000 copies, in which 4,700 were pure sales in its first week of the release. When discussing the pressures of the industry and how she remains resilient throughout the obstacles in her career, Tinashe said, quote, "Everyone is quick to call you a flop or a failure if you haven't reached these high pinnacles of success. It comes from the idea that there isn't space for that many women. Like, there's this competitive undertone to everything. It isn't necessarily the case at all. There's room enough for everyone to be successful," unquote. She went on to say in another interview that, quote, "I get called a flop all the time. It becomes a mental game at that point. You can't let people break you or let those titles and people's misconceptions about you get you down. We're still out here grinding, playing shows, and in the studio. All that stuff is important. The biggest thing for me is having no plan B and knowing I would never give up. It's not a matter of if, it's how and when," unquote. Thankfully, in 2019, Tinashe was able to part ways with RCA and release her first project, Songs for You, independently under her label Tinashe Music Inc. Throughout Tinashe's career, I always felt that she was straddling the fence between being a mainstream pop act and an R&B underground act. And that was largely due to the fact that her label did not understand Tinashe's creative process and did not market her towards the audience that gravitated towards projects like Nightride and Songs for You. Overall, it feels like social media has ruined the music industry to an extent. New music is not allowed to sit and organically grow anymore. People are so preoccupied with charts and metrics to the point that it deludes them into thinking an artist failed before they even began. That is why I appreciate The Weeknd's response to a user who stated that because no physical copies were released during the first week for his album Dawn FM, it would impact his first week figures. The Weeknd said that it does not matter to him, and what matters is getting to experience the album together with the fans during these times. With sleeper hit songs such as Truth Hurts by Lizzo, released in September 2017, the song made its first appearance on the Billboard Hot 100 in May 2019, debuting at number 50. After the song made an appearance in the movie Someone Great and went viral on TikTok, the song eventually shot to number 1 on the charts by September of 2019, which became Lizzo's first number 1, going on to sell 7 million copies in the United States. Another example of a sleeper hit would be Alessia Cara's song Here. The song was the lead single from Alessia's debut album Know It All. It was released in April of 2015, but it made its first appearance on the charts by debuting at number 95 on the US Billboard Hot 100 in August 2015. The song went on to peak at number 5 on the charts and sold over 5 million copies in the US. All in all, it is tiring to constantly see the flop threads, discussions, or commentary about an artist. Though I understand stans are doing their best to see their fave succeed and thrive in such a cutthroat industry, stans on social media have to be cautious of how their dedication can be detrimental to their favorite artists and their peers in the industry. I hope we could get back to the days where people are no longer in fan-based competition and let the music speak for itself and grow on the charts if it's meant to happen. Let me know in the comments what you think of this era of flop culture and what effects, if any, you feel it has on artists. What are some other sleeper hit songs that you liked? Overall, what do you think about Lauren's tweets as well as the current state of the music industry? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.